Good evening. This is Rick Harsh from my balcony in Isla, Slovenia, uh, where I've spent the day um, reading about Vladimir Putin and watching a documentary about the war. No, about the Soviet Union before the war, about the breakup of the Soviet Union. I'm doing a little Russia studies private seminar. But I'm not. That's just And I also did some work. I did some editing on a paper about the mental health of seafarers. It's some of the things that disturb a seafarer are, you know, they would disturb anyone. Like ghost ships and piracy, but the vibrations. I got to talk to the guy who wrote the paper about the vibrations. I think it's it's not white noise because it's a little heavier than white noise. I think it's brown noise, but a constant humming and vibration from the engine room. You know, Probably something that once it gets into you, you can't escape it. Um, it's like electrical noise that you hear sometimes from wires. Once you hear it near your house, you can't be outside without hearing it. It can drive you crazy. Well, but I'm here to talk to you about another kind of crazy. We have in our midst a very nice fella who's an interesting reader and apparently not, also a writer. He goes by the moniker the with a backwards E or a 3, TH3 Falcon, on Instagram, and on YouTube he goes by um, the um, the Falcon Reads, but his pen name is Carol Wainwright, which I found out because he announced quite humbly that I have written the most important book ever. Or I'm not sure if that's the exact quote, but it's not far off, and it's not. It's no less grandiose than what he actually did write. And that's the kind of thing you immediately turn to it and say, "You what? Let's look into this a little bit." And I also thought, geez, I really like this guy. We come across each other. I think he follows Noah. Everyone who reads it must converse, and so do I. And I know he reads some of our books, the Corona Samizdat books, and so I like everybody on Instagram, and I hated to see this because I thought, God, people are just gonna just look at this and go, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Who do you think you are?" But that would happen on Facebook probably, or I don't know, other sites. But on Instagram, people are just too nice. They just will ignore it for the most part. I mean, but I'm here to tell you, don't ignore it. Um, I watched his booktube about his book. It's called and the timing was. I'm not sure if it was fortunate or unfortunate, but the timing, you know, coincides strangely with the death of Milan Kundera. The title of his book is "The Unbearable Heaviness of Being," um, with the subtitle of fuck. I knew I'd forget some things. Um, Life Reviled, I think is what it is. Life Reviled. Um, and I see the first problem I see is not, well, the grandiosity I didn't view as a problem. I thought, let's look into this before we decide. And so it got my attention. And I also thought, probably a lot of people are not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. So let me just look into this. And not like it's up to me to decide, but it is up to me to decide if I want to say something about it or whatever. And I did engage with him in conversation. The interesting thing is what he's basically written is a novel that sets out to definitively I don't know if prove is the right word. I don't know if he would use the word prove, but he's not terribly careful with humility, so I won't be all that careful with my words. But sets out in the novel to make the point that um, human beings are a big mistake, and I think, what does he call it? Anti nativity or antinatalist. He's an antinatalist. In other words, people should never have babies. We should not reproduce, and we should just let the species die out. And that if that reminds you of anything, um, it could be E.M. Choran, one of our most famous pessimists, and rightly so. He died, so he had every reason to be pessimistic, but he expected it. So it may not have come as that much of a surprise. Um, but it also is what attracts me to the character that Matthew McConaughey plays in the first year of True Detective, in which he and Woody Harrelson are paired in southern Louisiana. Um, Widely and rightly considered one of the best television uh, shows of all time. Television movies, I suppose, or I don't know. It's a series, but that's nothing will ever come close to that first one. Um, and in that, he, after 3 months of working with Woody Harrelson, his character, um, upon finding a grotesque and ritualistically murdered uh, woman, um, he's asked some questions by Woody Harrelson about life and so on, or he turns it to his philosophy of life, and basically says that that we are a mistake in evolution, and perhaps we should. I'm not sure how he puts it, but it's very well written. Walk, hand in hand, not have children, quit reproducing, and walk hand in hand into the sunset, or something like that. It's eloquently stated in the film, and um, it's a powerful message for me, because it's something that I've often thought. I don't think about the reproducing so much as the. I do believe that human beings are an evolutionary blunder. I think it was just an absolute accident that gave us the ability to both think and speak. And I think the simians, our ancestors, were probably the apex of creation, and so uh, whether you believe in I don't know, do people still not believe in evolution? Well, anyway, I I certainly do. Um, I'm not for it. I think it's gone on a bit too long, and I think human beings are definitely going to show that to be the case. Maybe if they already have. I don't know of if there were any other species, something I haven't given a lot of thought to, but did any other species kill uh, any, numerous other species? I mean, I know that, there are a lot of animals in Asia and Africa that would like to kill mosquitoes. Nobody likes mosquitoes. You talk to any macaque, and they'll tell you, fucking mosquitoes, man. They just, but anyway, that's beside the point. So our man Carol Wainwright, I'll call him by the name on his book, has written this book, and he's published it himself. And I said, he said something about, it's a book that he didn't want to go through the trouble of trying to find a publisher that he would never get, and nobody would ever publish this. And I thought, well, what the fuck, man? You know about my press. I would certainly look at it and consider it, and I would not turn it down because of the content as he spoke about it, I would go by the writing. And it took a little while, but he grudgingly, perhaps, sent me only 10 pages. And the reason I'm not going to give you a review is because I did read the 10 pages, but right away, and that was about a week ago. And I decided today I'm not going to take the time. I got other shit going on. Tomorrow I have to redo my website because of a rise in postal taxation, let's call it. Postal punishment, I think is more like it. But anyway, so I read the 10 pages, and what I wanted to say is that they're very well written. Um, and, you know, I'm going to ask him to send me the whole book if he's interested um, in having it published. I'm not sure yet. I'd have to read the whole thing. The threat, the threat, yeah, it's a threat when you write a book so directly towards a point of view or making a point, is that you lose the feel of the fictional work. I didn't see any of that in the 10 pages I read. I just saw a very good writer writing. So if any of you are willing to look into his book, he's got information. It's on YouTube. You can find him as the Falcon Reads, and I recommend watching it just to see what he says. His next one, he said something like, he wrote the most pessimistic book ever, and I thought, well, probably not, but I didn't put a lot of effort into thinking of examples. I sent a couple examples. I don't remember what one of them was. One was Under the Volcano, and he read this is one of my favorite books, by the way, and he just ripped it to shreds. Although it was entirely a matter of taste. That there's no right and wrong there. I disagree with him about that book. I think it's a fantastic book, and I love the writing. And he didn't love the writing, and he hated the writing, I think. But he's someone who's obviously got feels no need for restraining himself, and in the world of literature, that's a welcome characteristic. And so I'm going to ask him if he's interested in us publishing it. Then I'll read the whole thing and make a decision. But the writing is definitely good enough. We also have, well, I won't do any commercials for stuff we have coming up, even though we have a very dark book coming up. May not lead to antinatalism, although for some readers who are emotional enough, it might. It's by Wade Ells of Brisbane, Australia, and I always forget the title, but it's going to be it's from Oedipus, and it's something like madness. No, wailing something wailing, madness, and death. Shame is in there, I think. But anyway, it's a nice quote from Oedipus, and I think it'll work well as a title. And I thought the book was terrific and profoundly engaging and dark. And so that is my plug for Carol Wainwright. Carol, if you watch this, send me the rest of the book, and I'll if you want to let me know if you want Corona Samizdat to publish it, and if we agree, that might turn out to be the case. Good night.